The key concept and focal point for the anime Made in Abyss is, of course, the Abyss. It is literally the center of the city and all the characters are drawn to it. It is the source of their hopes and dreams and contrasts to the harsh poverty that seems so rife in the rest of the city. The sunny and grassy expanses of the Abyss, an almost surreal dream world compared to a devastating and miserable reality of gritty city streets lined with starving beggars living in their own filth. This is despite the extreme danger of the Abyss, the deadly beasts that lurk there, and the curse that cripples anyone trying to claw their way back up out of it. It's beautiful, but it's a beauty that comes from its wildness and savagery, like one massive honey trap just waiting for naive adventurers to fall into it. So, what is it that makes them fall into this so willingly then? The allure of the life of a hero that the Abyss presents as a direct road out of poverty, or the sheer beauty of the wilderness there? Or perhaps just the sense of freedom that diving down into that deep unknown gives. Probably a combination of all three, so let's explore them. The Abyss is the epitome of the phrase, the most beautiful places in the world are often the most deadly, and also usually the most remote from human society. When it's first introduced, the Abyss is contrasted drastically from the city at the most basic level, bright sunny fields compared to dirty city streets, but even this shows the clear difference between environments and how much more visually pleasing the Abyss is. As the characters dive deeper into it, these factors are just intensified. The environments get more abstract and strange, and definitely more stunning, but as they also get farther and farther away from signs of human life, the danger from the wildlife that dwells there just ramps up more and more. In the latter half of the anime, we of course get the most potent scenario where this coupling of beauty and danger come together, the Goblet of Giants layer. This is the most clear definition of savage beauty in this anime so far. It's almost magical because the art of the mushrooms filled with the turquoise water truly is gorgeous, and it really lets your guard down. In this kind of environment, it seems difficult for something to sneak up on them or catch them off guard. Then, of course, that is exactly what happens, and it's the most dangerous enemy they've met so far, crushing that false sense of security and hitting them with a potent dose of reality. A reminder that the Abyss is a murder hole filled with all sorts of nasties bred to kill humans, and are incredibly efficient at doing just that. This concoction of beauty and danger really does create a strange mystique and allure that seeing these environments is exclusive to those brave and strong enough to do so, or in the case of our main characters, batshit crazy enough to go see them. And really ups the ante on this because they're not just beautiful environments, they're beautiful and incredibly deadly environments that only few people have ever seen with their own eyes. Like colourful insects or frogs or snakes are beautiful to look at, they're also often the most deadly, and the Abyss is just a huge structure following this law of nature. The more practical allure of the Abyss comes from the monetary differences between it and the city above, namely the relics that can be found in it. If you go deep enough and find a good enough relic, you can be a hero, and while doing that is incredibly difficult, it presents a clear, straightforward line out of poverty, and not just to a more middle class income, but to an idol that everyone looks up to. It's not like just hoping to win the lottery to change your life around, it's something that you can achieve if you work hard enough at it for a long enough time. So it's easy to see why some people would risk all the dangers just for that, because the reward and the journey to that reward can all be seen. All they have to do is survive the danger to get there. The fact that a lot of the city we get to see is in poverty, with the children in an orphanage and then trekking through the slums to get down into the Abyss when they sneak out, also points to further motivation. If you're going to die of starvation anyway, well, the Abyss is sitting there waiting for you, so without the fear of death, you may as well wander in and try and find a few relics to survive. The other part to this, which is more in the background of the anime, so is mostly my theorizing, is the hints of oppressive structural systems in place. It's not explicitly shown, but there definitely seems to be something going on behind the scenes. The dark and sinister cloaked government officials don't exactly paint that government in a good light. They go off the vibes of some dystopian theme in place, and well, dystopian governments never turn out well. The secrecy behind Riko's mother's findings when she goes to see them also makes those in control of it look all the more shady, and the fact that there's so much poverty in the city, or at least the parts of it we're presented with in a lot of what we see of the city, also indicates some unfair ruling or skewed distribution of wealth. At the very least, it's certainly not a very well off city overall anyway. As of all cities, there's wealthy and poor areas, but the poor definitely seem to be more numerous here. If there really is an overly domineering, controlling government that's keeping its people in poverty, then that is just one more motivation to delve into that abyss, where there's pure freedom and you're only bound by the limits of your own abilities to handle the danger within it. This also harkens back to the more abstract concepts of freedom and man's natural desire to be free, to do what he wants, and that desire in this anime leads straight down into the abyss. So this video wasn't about Riko and her encounter with Orb-chan, or even the backstory of Mitty, which given my past videos on moe and suffering you might have expected. While it is a genre I love and would have been something easy to talk about, I wanted to switch things up a bit and talk about something else that Made in Abyss did really well. I'll just say here that the suffering was pulled off well because it was justified. The characters go on what is, at its core, a suicide mission into the most dangerous place in the world, and so when that reality finally catches up to them, it really hits them hard. The contrast to the moe is sudden and extreme, but it suits so well because it shows what the abyss can do to you the moment you let your guard down. An absolutely brutal reminder about how harsh this place really is, just in case you're getting overly complacent from the plot armor. But yeah, anyway, I think I've done enough videos on that topic already, so I wanted to talk more about just how enigmatic the abyss is and how the anime has all these characters that are inexplicably drawn to this incredibly dangerous place that they're very likely to die in, yet this doesn't feel out of place because the motivations for it are so well developed, both the clear and more abstract ones. Anyway, I hope this video was interesting. If you have any thoughts on the show, even if they're about this contrast of moe and suffering and not what I talked about in the video, feel free to put them in the comments and I'll discuss them with you. The show really was a gem of its season and I'm looking forward to more of it in the future.